the program which was agreed here began to be carried out in part by Dantas. Although he's running into some obstacles, it still looked pretty hopeful. Unfortunately, in the middle of June, he and the rest of the then cabinet was removed. And since that time, his successor, the new finance minister, who had a good reputation but does not seem to be a strong man, has been rather slow in getting to the making of the new program. His record is not entirely bad, but until another month or so from now, if he's still there, we have not really had a resumption of the thread of the Dantas-Bell agreement. Meanwhile, the rate of inflation has become somewhat worse, but the most serious deteriorations are on the political side. There, I think it's fair to say that Goulart's position has weakened all over. He has lost even more such support or confidence or hopes as he had in the Senate. He, of course, never had any on the right. And even on the left, where his traditional support has been drawn from, generally people have lost confidence in him, lost confidence in his capacity to administer, lost confidence in his capacity to carry out any consistent policy for any length of time. They still work with him in an opportunistic kind of way, but without any feeling of support. The feeling, growing sentiment in the country that he isn't necessarily going to last the 2¼ years that his constitutional term has left, has been growing, was growing before I left on the 12th of September, and apparently has grown even more in the last 3 weeks. My own guessing at the present time is that there's about a 50-50 chance that by early next year he will no longer be there. That doesn't mean one counts him out entirely. 50-50 is 50-50. I must say, from the point of view of policy, that if he could be peacefully gotten out, I think this would be a very good thing for both Brazil and Brazilian-American relations. How could that happen? On optimistic hypotheses, there are two. One is that the present military leadership might persuade him that law and order in the country could only be maintained if he were to leave, either to go abroad or to retire as Vargas once retired in 1945 to his farm in the South. The alternative is impeachment, which can be done by a majority, absolute majority of the lower house of Congress. Doesn't seem likely yet, but there is growing talk about it. I still believe that unless he makes a frontal attack on the Congress, this is unlikely. But I must say it's less unlikely today than it seemed a month ago, and this may grow. You're, of course, familiar with these discussions of the declaration of the state of siege over the last few days. This afternoon, the request was withdrawn. The military indicated in a face-saving manner that they thought the immediate need for it had disappeared, and they therefore concurred in its withdrawal. The reasons for the opposition to it were that it was a two-edged sword as proposed. It was a sword obviously intended by the military to be used against extremist labor leadership and political strikes, but possibly intended to be used by some of the left wing against the governors and governments of states of Guanabara, this is Carlos Lacerda, and São Paulo, Adjumar de Barros. And also, I think, on the moderate wing in Congress, a great fear of censorship. Because since they don't have the instruments of government at their command, the public opinion media are extremely important to them. The government has been doing a lot of unpleasant things in this field. A loose censorship of television, for example, and a lot of pressure on the press. And I believe that the right and center of Congress was very much concerned that the censorship power under the state of siege would in fact be used against their interests. In any case, that particular proposal has been withdrawn for the moment. There is a third hypothesis, which is nice from our point of view, which is that he doesn't de facto get out, but comes under really a kind of continuing military restraint and tutelage, does appoint or give more authority, delegate really to a moderate cabinet, virtually full authority, and stops getting in the way, stops interfering in effect with a consistent moderate policy. Moderate policy can't just be a status quo policy because the economic conditions are deteriorating badly, and it really takes some positive action to turn the corner on inflation, which Dennis had begun to do, but which unfortunately subsequently has turned the other way again. One little example of the weakness of the situation. Last month, starting with the sergeant's rebellion, well, there was a strike in the city of Santos first, lasted 3 or 4 days, required the army to occupy the port in order to stop it. Then there was the sergeant's rebellion in Brasilia. Then there started a series of sporadic bank strikes all over the country, affecting particular cities for different lengths of time, particular banks for different lengths of time. This created generalized runs. The Bank of Brazil had to pump into the banking system 120 billion cruzeiros of freshly issued currency against the 30 billion, which for that month was in their program, their monetary program. If things really quieted down, they might get a lot of that back, but I don't think they're likely to in the present circumstances. This is already and will be a further source of inflationary pressure. The present situation on the labor front for the moment is calm. I don't think there are any going strikes, but the immediate strike season is by no means off, even on economic grounds. This is the period for renegotiation of annual wage contracts, and political strikes, of course, are always a possibility. There'll be one very critical indicator of the President's line at the end of this month, because the National Industrial Workers Confederation, which is by far the biggest, most important, has its first election of the new directorate since December 1961 coming. It came at that time, you may recall, under pretty strong left wing, including some communist domination. And there obviously will be an effort now, on the one hand, to weaken this or get rid of it, and on the other hand, to make it even more left wing than it was before. Broad lines of policy, which we have been working on and thinking about in the face of the situation, fall into 2 parts. One is on the general hypothesis that somehow he survives, that Carvalho Pinto, the new finance minister, although a weaker man than Dantas, does at least prevent things from going completely to pot on the inflation front, that Goulart withdraws enough support or takes a sufficiently hostile posture to the left-wing elements in the labor movement to keep them from getting out of hand. That things don't greatly improve, but they don't worsen so badly that a crisis of regime is inevitable. Then the broad line of policy is suggested in a paper which was approved by the Latin American Policy Committee tentatively last Thursday. I don't know whether you've glanced at it yet or not. I think that's the piece of paper in front of you. Basically, this is to continue to work, and to work indeed, if anything, more intensively with the large, open forces available to us, which are forces that will help to restrain Goulart from doing bad things or even worse things, and help to ensure a better succession to him, either in the event that he somehow disappears in these 2 years or in the election of 1965. The term ends on January 31st, 1966. In the event that he should be removed by impeachment or by this kind of forced resignation, semi-voluntary resignation, the legal position is that the Speaker of the House would succeed for the time being, and the Congress would then elect an interim successor for the rest of the term within 30 days. Ralph Dungan produced a series of questions and asked. One of them was who would succeed. This is hard to tell. There is nobody like General de Gaulle, if I may use a dirty word, in the Brazilian scene. There's no obvious alternative. I think this is one reason the thing hasn't happened yet. The most likely possibilities, I would guess, would be conceivably the present Minister of War, and many people are tempting him with this idea now in the hopes that this will stimulate him to remove Goulart. Another kind of father figure in the scene is Marshal Lott, who's retired, who was the presidential candidate in 1960 who was defeated by Quadros. It's conceivable that the Speaker of the House would be left in there. He's quite popular in Congress, although he's not a terribly strong man. He's a very moderate, very center, very middle-of-the-road sort of fellow, but not very strong. The President of the Senate, same general orientation, but stronger as a personality, is another possibility. There's been some mention in telegrams in the last week or two of an excellent man, Joaquim Magalhães, a former military man, but a civilian politician for many years, was the governor of Bahia, was at one time military attaché here, a man who represents the best type of moderate, centrist, honest, rather wound-healing type of Brazilian politician. And among the governors, certainly the best would be the present governor of Paraná, Ney Braga, whom I think you met on his visit here some while back. The people, this is the best list I can make up, and all of them would be great improvements on the present incumbent. But none of them is an obvious fellow. Kubitschek, who would probably be elected president today if there were an election, would not be interested in this because this would disqualify him for the full 5-year term, which starts in 1966, and he wants to wait for that. His line, in fact, that Jack McCoy, who was down there for a few days last week, talked with him, and his line is that somehow we must hold this thing from falling apart completely so that I can be elected for another 5-year term, starting in early 1966. Now, strengthening these moderate forces includes working with the military. The military fall into several categories. There is a small extreme right-wing group in the military, mostly out of significant command position now, which would like to run a right-wing golpe. We don't think they have the capacity to do this, although they gain in friends as the situation deteriorates. There is a significant, strong left-wing group in the military. The principal name in this group is Osvaldo Alves, the former commander of the First Army in Rio, who was retired, but who is still actively politicking, and whose name often appears as a possible minister of war if Goulart decides to opt for a left-wing group. Exactly how much support he has, we don't know. We wish we knew more about this. We think it's minority, but it's spread around. There were 11 new generals created in July, including several immediate disciples of his. And he has friends at lower ranks and some significant number of friends in the Air Force, very few in the Navy, except the head of the active Marine Corps group in Rio, who's a very unpopular man. And in the sergeants, he was working with the sergeants on the organization of subversive elements in the sergeants. There again, we don't think this is terribly extensive, but it may be more than we realize. Certainly, this Brasilia revolt was put down very quickly, without too much difficulty. The bulk of the military, I think, is moderate. basically constitutionally oriented, loyal to the regime, increasingly troubled with Goulart, not anxious to throw him out, although they'd be happier if he weren't there, but probably drawing a line against deliberately unconstitutional action on his part against the Congress or against state governors, and especially drawing a line against encouragement on his part of politically motivated labor disorder, with a lot of communist participation in. Those, I think, are the main elements in the situation. This paper suggests a policy line strengthening the moderate forces in the military, to the extent we have ways of doing that, helping to stiffen the spine of moderate forces in the Congress, working, and this is especially important, with the state governors. There are 22 states, there is one hostile governor, there are 4 non-entities, and there are 17 good governors, varying degrees of goodness. Any of the 17 would make a much better president than the present president of the Republic. Most of these are very sympathetic to us, very anxious to collaborate with us. Of course, a good many of them have been here under this deliberate policy of ours to try to get these people exposed to the United States and to encourage them. The favorable groups in the labor field, students, press, public opinion, and of course in private business. This involves a rather tricky policy with respect to aid, subject I've just been discussing with Dave here, in which until or unless there is a real consistent program with respect to progressive stabilization and long-term development, we would not pick up the whole of what was proposed in the agreements with Davis in March. But we would do quite a lot. PL 480, where we just signed the 5th Fleet Agreement, the continuation of Northeast program, which should run at about $60 million a year, roughly half in PL 480 funds and the other half in dollar funds, and a substantial program of projects, mainly directed towards state-sponsored projects by these good governors and the private sector. Dave has been somewhat shocked when I told him that I estimate this at something around $100 million a year. We'll have to discuss this in detail when we get a chance. This is also Ted's figure, Dave. I must say I thought there had been some internal discussions.
We got an internal failure of communication between us.
Apparently haven't. It means strengthening certain of our other activities in the cultural exchange, student exchange, professors, information field generally, rather quicker action on what I call the truth squad to try to deal promptly with various.
Let me ask you, just break in and ask you a couple of points. Now, on do we have any immediate decision to make on the aid? As far as withholding or not withholding or requests from them, or it's just...
So far as I'm aware, sir, there are no significant project decisions coming along right soon.
Well, the steel one, the small steel one.
So that's the next project, which they just turned over to us, which is, we haven't looked at yet.
$5 million. And you said
As far as they don't know that.
Well, there are a whole bunch in the pipeline.
Yeah, but I think we have
no major decisions.
What decisions do we have to make in the political field immediately? Nothing. There's no situation there that's happening out in the next week or 2 or 3 that you're going to have.
Well, this raises the question of contingencies, Mr. President. I see 2 categories of contingencies. One of which I call comforting contingency requiring rapid response. And that is either Goulart dropping out of the picture in this sort of peaceful fashion, or perhaps not so peacefully. I mean, he might be pushed out involuntarily. This would then raise the question as to what we do in the light of the Honduran, Dominican, and these other cases crises we've had. Do we suspend diplomatic relations, economic relations, aid? Do we withdraw aid missions and all this kind of thing? Or do we somehow find a way of doing what we ought to do, which is to welcome this?
Yeah, well, I'm sure
we
we
see
figure
our
out
face in relation to it.
What about do you see a situation coming where we might be, find it desirable to intervene militarily ourselves?
Well, this is the other category, which I call here dangerous contingency, possibly requiring rapid action. This is a very tough one. The only kind of thing that we're working on a paper, which we ought to have by now and haven't, but we're working actively both here in Washington and in Rio, and to some extent in Panama with General O'Mara and his people. The kind of thing which, in my mind, may arise is a sharp swing of the law of the left, the decision that in desperation he really isn't going to get anywhere. Of course, his old friends, many of them, including his brother-in-law and others, are advising him to do this. Forget all these concessions to the center and the right, forget the United States. What we need is a strong, independent, left-wing line. We're going to solve our foreign exchange problem by canceling all the debts unilaterally. We'll expropriate American enterprises and get quite a lot of help that way. We'll get oil from the Soviet Union, so we don't have to worry about fuel supply and what they do about wheat at the moment, but they probably do without wheat. They could if they had to. They can eat corn, which they have a surplus. And really institute, or try to institute, a revolutionary regime, a feudalista type of regime, if you will. This, I think, if he were to try it today, he would probably be thrown out rapidly, but he might not. This is the contingency nature of the thing.
John F. Kennedy Library, President's Office Files, Presidential Recordings Collection, Tape 114/A50, Reel 3. There are no excisions. For additional information, see recording log number 114/A50.
This, I think, if he were to try it today, he would probably be thrown out rapidly, but he might not. This is the contingency nature of the thing. We can't be sure enough of our knowledge of the relative weight of the various elements in this military division particularly, or of the power of the left-wing labor unions to create trouble by general strikes and sabotage, for example, in petroleum refineries. And they are strong, and very strong, in petroleum, railroads, marine, both forts and the merchant marine, and communications, telegraph, telephone communications. This is a pretty dangerous collection of things from the point of view, at least, of paralyzing the ordinary operation of the country. in an event of this kind, it is possible, I don't think it should be ruled out, that you might actually get an effort to throw him out, and possibly a real division of the military and some kind of an internal clash, the beginnings of what would amount to a civil war. This was feared, seriously feared, in August 1961. That's why the Congress finally came to this compromise. At that time, the First Army in Rio was against letting Goulart in. The Third Army in the south of the country was in favor of letting him in. The Second Army hadn't really decided. They really were afraid of a violent dispute. We want to think more about this kind of thing. I must confess that such preliminary looking as we've done suggested that military intervention on the word type is not too likely to arise. At least military intervention on any scale. We had a preliminary look, Bob, at a question General O'Mara asked at one time. Suppose the country fell under communist control of the communist group, and really a question of a military invasion to recapture it, what would it take? Well, it was going to take 6 divisions, and I've forgotten how many ships and aircraft and whatnot. I mean, it was a really massive military operation. We tried to examine various contingencies of possible divisions, political divisions, and we came to the conclusion that, for the most part, it all depends on what the Brazilian military do. If the Brazilian military are substantially all against Goulart, he will disappear. And if they're substantially all in favor of him, and it's only people like the governor of São Paulo and the governor of Guanabara and so on who are against him, they won't be able to hold out more than 48 hours. There was talk about the southern governors trying to organize some sort of a group against Goulart. We couldn't see very much in this. But in the event of something like an equal division in the organized Brazilian military themselves, especially the Army and the Air Force being important because of mobility, it is conceivable that we might be asked for help of one kind or another. We might be asked for fuel. We might be asked for something, ammunition, in some place. This is what we want to study further. And I must say, I would not want us to close our minds to the possibility of some kind of discrete intervention in such a case, which would help see the right side win.
These internal communications in Brazil are so bad, and so easily interrupted by the unions, for example. Something very discreetly prepared to help, particularly on fuel, might be very significant for turning about.
Right. Now, how are we going to get that contingency?
We've got some things.
Mr. President, we're working at General O'Mara and state here on some plans. I think we need to think of something perhaps larger than that, at least to extend our plan. It's entirely possible the military was split, and one fairly substantial group go one way, and another even larger group go another way. And at that point, we might have to choose between the two groups and decide whether to support one or the other. In the event we decided to support one militarily, it could be a rather substantial introduction of U.S. forces. And it seems to me that's the kind of a contingency plan we should be working toward. I spoke to the chiefs about it again this afternoon. They've been working on it rather casually up to this point. I think we can accelerate our work. And we'll work, of course, with the state to that end.
Very difficult place for us to operate in, because it isn't necessarily, how many days by ship, 10 or 12 days to get some ships in.
But we'd have to move rapidly by air, and we have some capability for that end.
I must say, unless it looks like the extreme leftist forces under communist domination had a good chance of winning, I'm pretty strong for the principle, let the Brazilians fight it out. So,
but I think
but we have to have our plans prepared just in case.
And then the other one, the other contingency, which I think is quite possible, is that we ought to try to maintain as good a relation with him as possible. I noticed one of the things about letters, I don't know where I was threw down there, or in other words, to make it so that his justification for that publicly becomes as little as possible. And he doesn't want to burn all the bridges. Of course, if the client screws up the aid, you have to do it with some sensitivity to the fact that they just might say, well, there's no who's playing that card. What suggestions do you have? If you ought to go down there or not?
Well, I'd like to take another reading. I've been away for 3.5 weeks now. I must say that the way things have developed very recently, I lean on the negative side. I thought a couple months ago that if you wanted to consider going down to this inter-American meeting, the Social Council meeting in São Paulo, which they were going to head our delegation to November 9th, that this might have a dual advantage of both the sort of resuscitation of the Alliance for Progress exercise, which is what the meeting is all about, plus having an opportunity for visiting Brazil without having it too much simply giving political benefit to Goulart, which we obviously don't want to overdo. It's gotten a little late for that anyway, and I must say, as the situation in Brazil has deteriorated, without taking another first-hand reading, I wouldn't want to advise you in favor. I would have to advise you against at the present moment. I did not know, when we talked in March, you were thinking of the possibility of visiting Chile and Argentina after the new president got in and so on. Anyway, I think it's quite clear that you must not go to neighboring South American countries without going to Brazil. I think this would be the
I understand the thing going in March. All these goes through that.
next year.
Yeah. The other thing is I can go in December, but that depends on your advice.
Right. December is, just from the seasonal point of view, a very poor time. It's the beginning of the hottest part of the year.
Why is it good?
It's beginning to get better.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That's
March and April. Well, it isn't quite, it's the rain and spoiling the popular reception, all this kind of thing. Which,
anyway, you advise us on that.
I think if nothing else, the fact that you have to decide this a month ahead of time, in the Brazil situation, motivates against planning it. Because you can't know what's going to happen a month ahead of time.
as it is now, yeah.
As it is now.
I think we ought to think about going down there, though.
Well, March, sure.
Anyway, decide to go.
I'm anxious to get to Chile and Argentina. I've got desire to pilot.
There's nothing in that paper, Mr. President, which would cool at all our present relations with Goulart. In other words, there's nothing in there that would give him any excuse any more than he's had for the last year, in any event, to say that we're not being forthcoming to assist him. As a matter of fact, he rolled over some treasury debt. There's only one possibility, that ex-im thing on that steel plant, that they might be nasty about. Linder does not want to give him a loan for the steel plant unless the Amcorp case is settled. They're still dragging their feet on that.
Linder isn't concerned about Amcorp. He's really concerned about the general status of the yeah.
I would think we're being very careful also to not get involved with rightist coup.
Oh, yes.
Which could be very
I was going to mention, though, Mr. President, the problem of our business interests so far. We've been running a rear guard action on preventing injurious action, and we've been pretty successful since the expropriation of IT&T in avoiding any serious action. Although there have been a lot of hot threats on pharmaceuticals, on the oil distributors, on the meat packers, and of course on the public utility companies. The other side of that coin is that neither our people nor any other private foreign investors are getting much out these days. There's a kind of creeping moratorium, a de facto creeping moratorium. They are getting restive. Every once in a while, the Treasury there gives them a little bit to calm them down. There's always the possibility that this restiveness may get too great. In the case case of American foreign power specifically, they have factually repudiated the memorandum they signed in April, although they haven't overtly done so. They have made it clear that they will not make the settlement, whatever it is, retroactive to January 1st of this year. And the company is losing money at the present time. And we're trying to help press them to raise the rates, which ought to be done anyway for all the electricity operations in the country, because this is one of the sources of budgetary deficits. And I think we may make some headway there. That at least will prevent the situation from getting worse. At any point at which AMEAÇOU believes that it is suffering clearly creeping expropriation and thinks that it ought to start raising hell about the Hickenlooper Amendment in this connection, we may be put behind the 8 ball in exactly the same way we were by IT&T last year. I don't think we're entirely free agents in this matter. The oil company problem is a serious one. I talked briefly to the Jersey Standard people today. They got into bad arrears a year ago. They consolidated the then arrears into 2 payments, March and September. They have made those, but they really made those by backing up new arrears during the course of the present year. Last Friday and the previous Friday, they called in the oil company representatives for a discussion of consolidation of the new arrears. And the companies are trying to see if they can't work out some method of accepting the consolidation, but on some more stern conditions so that it won't happen all over again. It's just a question of filling up one hole at the expense of creating another. But behind this, there are some other nasty problems. Petrobras has made a deal with Romania about aviation gasoline. And our distributors may be asked to distribute Romanian aviation gasoline. They don't like to do this either on technical grounds or on political grounds. This will be a very tough one for us to confront. There's the question, of course, if they get into bigger oil business with the Soviet Union, about Soviet gasoline and other products as well. So I think we may have coming at us from the business front, so to speak, various types of pressures if the situation continues to get worse, which may require some kind of policy responses. At the moment, the policy line is to try to help work with these people.
It depends on that. They have to understand the business. If they push hard, we get the Hickenlooper Amendment, and then they all have it seized completely. So they should understand that they're not completely free.
That's right. That's right. I think on the whole they've been pretty good. They've been very tolerant. That's right.
Now, what else is we have to today? Military going ahead with that contingency planning. I think this paper is pretty good paper if we can do these things.
The CIA has some contingency planning in this too, also some activities.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Yeah. Well, it's South America. Oh. That's awesome. So, yeah. 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 You want to go off the record? Yeah, I said, well, the yeah, okay. All right, I'll get in touch with you. Good.
I have a reservation, Mr. President, on this one point, on the volume of project lending that we do over the next year. I don't think there'd be any difficulty, but I appreciate a chance to.
Well, the paper doesn't state the volume. The paper is couched in general terms.
discuss further whether it's $100 million or some other figure that we should have in mind.
I discussed the program with Ted. I said the 100 billion I thought might be susceptible of rating for 2 or 3 things that seemed to be a little low.
Really good way. President, on the question of your visit, there was one slightly unhappy episode, which I must say I found rather troublesome. When I talked to the President in August, he made a great point. He came back to the scene, made a great point of it. And I reported all this at that point in time without recommendation. Shortly thereafter, some garbled story came out because of a conversation between a Brazilian newspaper reporter and one of my embassy officers in Brasilia. And this got wired up here. And Pierre was asked a question about it and said the President is not contemplating a visit to South America this year under any circumstances or something like that. I think it was just one of these accidental things, but the next time I saw Goulart, it was quite clear that he thought this was a deliberate slap in the face, a cold blanket, cold towel thrown directly in his face, and he was quite sore about it. If we could avoid this particular kind of episode, it would be helpful.
What is our position then as far as like going there?
I think our position is that you certainly want to visit South America at an appropriate time. You've got Congress in session here, and the prospects in the near future don't look very good. But you want to keep re-examining the situation to see when it might be suitable and useful.
Do you have anything CIA want to say?
No, sir.
Well, this is a good, lot of material here, now we can get it really pushed ahead. So responsible to carry it out. Like, for example, just a military suggestion here as to what shows up, changing the environment, officers getting up, so on.
We'll follow that as correct.
This is about the congressional exchanges, parliamentary exchanges.
We're working on that.
Each of you take responsibility, Mr. President, and in that report, this has all been reviewed periodically by the Latin American Policy Committee as progress is taken on.
Okay, all right. More on it. The Dominican thing now, we're agreement on the paper.
We're talking about this morning is taken care of.
And Honduras, you know what?
Events will be even in the morning, and we'll be meeting tomorrow about where we go next there.
And on the Haiti, we're going to waive that back to there.
Right.
Well, I got a press conference on Wednesday, and I'd like to think of a statement. I would make a statement, but I respond about what our attitude is towards Cruz.
Discuss Coops Tower, the turtle,
No, but
that's very favorable to the Martin, now known as the Martin Doctrine.
Last we got some common sense or something like this.
they just chose to interpret. Let's just have something to do. We'll have to get reply about our attitude about military induction. Now, the other thing is, we're going to see about 4 or 5 senators, Democrats, maybe I think for about the 8, and Bill Fulbright wants to go down. Going to certainly get it from me. Say the last 5 or 6 years. I don't want to keep everybody else. This is even if we can get the amount done for aid, final appropriation, say each year, now, providing economic and military as much as you can. That's what I put in as economic, whatever the categories fit best. That's what I think, I'd like to see what basis we have in each of the countries for helping, how much we give each country and have for the last 5 years, break it down country by country, total figure. As soon as the military is economically possible, then you get the total figure for the last 5 years. Country by country.
All countries or just countries or other bases?
No, I just like to see the country based on that, all countries. And what
Larry suggests, Mr. President, that you talk to Senator Mansfield tomorrow after the breakfast and possibly bring Hickenlooper, Aiken, Carlson, Fulbright around 6 in the afternoon. Gore, they say, is absolutely gone. Absolutely hopeless. I talked to Fulbright today at noontime. He said, I just came from the finance committee and he's rocker. And Larry says,
Okay, what about,
in other words,
tomorrow, you can't get all this stuff to you. All right, well.
are you trying to make a pitch to the 3.5 final figure?
No, I'm just telling you, I don't want to show them why we need $4 billion, but just to show what the effect would be if we ended up with 2.5, which is where they're likely to try to take us, what the danger would be, is what I'd like to show. What are all the other lines that you've got that you think would be that they're knowledgeable about it, but they can
This will be all Republicans except for O'Brien?
nomination. The more hopeless. I think I talked to you
Privately, and I think that's what they suggested on Simon considered, and maybe it would be Senator Mansfield, Fulbright, and 3 Republicans. In other words, Larry's view is that wiping a whole group of Republicans down and just work on the ones where you're going to get a vote.
I think, possibly, but try to talk to them privately.
And Simon.
And Cyrus. Cyrus is very well named.
They use the vision of the 3.5 for military and General Wood to do the breakdown of that. Bill's outwards father, including his father's dead.
Bill Bundy?
Bill Bundy.
Oh, I didn't know you did that.
Today.
Or Simon is just this is all.
He'll go along with it.
Fine. Well, yeah.
I think,
Anyway, we gotta.
Didn't talk that way, though, you're right.
Well, yeah.
It's just
The trouble is you're asking to vote for a figure, we say, no, it's 500 million more than you find out. Yes, that being answered, that's trying to do something that's unreasonable, really, just as an effort. I guess Jerry Ford's impossible.
well, he's already on military, but all right in the sense that he'll go for the highest figure we can have any chance to get it, 1 billion one. And he'll swing past him in line behind that, because otherwise we'll get around 8 or 900 million. But I don't think Jerry Ford's going to do a thing for economic reasons. It's the impression he's giving me.
There's not a Republican on that committee as well over there.
Still Connie.
Sandy Rise,
I've got what we used to call a sky.
remember,
I had it last year. It's going away, but it's still there.
it's like a sky.
My wife claims it's fatigue.
I'm just impressed by how many, for example, these people that were, the base you have Morocco, Ethiopia, Libya, Turkey, Greece, and so on. I don't know why we have this fight about this.
One of the things that set them off last week, of course, was the Dominican Republic coup.
That's not what I'm talking about. The fact that we're going to be able to put that thing back together again.
That's right.
Due to the fact that they need to know from us.
I think you'll find them quite unreasonable for some of them. And it stems back, you remember, for several years, they've been against any military, a lot of them have been against any military in Latin America. The attitude is illogical in my opinion, but it runs pretty deep. And they took turns saying this to each other in that discussion last Wednesday. That's the kind of problems you have.
They were much better, though, after the 2 Martins went up and briefed them. I read that testimony last night, and it was much softened up, and they really weren't heavy on the military aid. Now, we've got a good story in the Dominican military aid. We haven't given them much recently. And we tried to keep them down.
Our position on military in Latin America is really quite good. We switched away from aircraft carriers to civic action, internal security. It is very much money in any case.
That's right. But they'll still talk to you about those tanks.
Well, they'll talk a lot about it, but there's not a hell of a lot they can do about it.
Yeah, I agree.
What about good, fine.
Mr. President, can we take just a second to tell you on the South Vietnam problem? I know it's articles, more system paragraphs.
Measuring point of views against Marxism, go ahead and against
certain impressment in what we're doing about withholding aid. And contrary to what we agreed to last Friday or Saturday, I would recommend to you that I tomorrow, Dave and Dean Rusk on Wednesday, frankly say we're withholding aid from Tom's forces until they're assigned to combat. I think it's a very strong position.
On that basis.
Yes.
And what about the rest of the, how much other?
Well, I think on the rest of it, we certainly say we're reviewing it to assure that it's being applied directly to support the war, which was exactly the policy you announced 2 weeks ago.
All right.
We'll have trouble with that, but at least having stopped.
You know, one of the things where they kill us in foreign aid is by adding up $100 billion over 15 years. Well, when you do that to any program, you ought to get 2 or 3 other expenditures, whether it's liquor or cigarettes or something over a 15-year period, or what we put into dinner.
Well, when they say that to me, I say, well, all right, we spent $750 billion on defense over that period, or whatever the amount it is, and this is for military, is a very, very small percentage of it. Now, if you want to reduce the defense budget, fine, but let's not reduce this portion of it. It's the cheapest form of
get a
it.
couple of items of defense things that we added up for, and I'd like to just get there how we spent in cigarettes in the same period. This is a trial.
Sure, I have one other comments.
I talked to Ron, and speak on it, and I'm concerned about it, because, you know, it's just, what do you think? Can you do it? You can go in after Christmas? Or is it too difficult?
I think it's too difficult for the president and the mayor of that case. a very, very unsophisticated approach to overthrowing a government. And I think it's cost us a lot already. It's all become known to the press, there and here. It's really disgraceful when you look back on what happened to the message 243 and the actions that we took to carry that out. It all leaked to the press. It's all known. It's taken as gospel now that this government tried to overthrow Ziem's government and used Konin for that purpose. So to continue to use Konin for that purpose. Konin is the man who is in contact with General Min.
What's his status?
He's a former colonel in one of the military services. I don't know whether he's retired with us. He's under contract to CIA.
What's he do?
He's in the MAC base. That's his coverage.
America.
Yes, he's American.
He's our agent, undercover.
But he's a colorful figure at the Lawrence of Arabia type. He's well known to all the reporters in Vietnam. He's well known to the Vietnamese government. And here he is contacting an individual that's known to be a dissident and a probable coup leader. And it's open as though we were announcing it over the radio. To continue this kind of activity just strikes me as absurd.
Well, apart from the Konin aspect, Mr. President, we're wasting our time with big men. I've known him since 1957 reasonably well. One day, I went out to play tennis with him with the secretary for the primary purpose of allowing him to talk.
At his initiation, he sent word that he wanted to talk to either General Taylor or to me, together or separately. And we went through the most elaborate series of steps to try to arrange.
I got a minute came out of it.
Yeah, I sat on the sidelines 2 feet from big men for an hour, and I couldn't get a damn thing out of them.
Well, now, in this case, however, big men has come forward and asked what the United States would do if they had a coup.
But why didn't we do that on October 1st when I had a long session with him, Mr. President?
I agree. I don't know whether big men are going to do it or not. The only thing is, as I understand our position is, if we does it all right, if we don't do it all right. We're not now, this is the only difference is, we're not now going to him and asking him to do it.
No, sir, but give him the U.S. assurances that he asked for. I would say is dignifying his position, waiting on what his entitled to have.
Well, I don't know if big men at all.
Well, he's not worth your time, Mr. President.
Well, it's like home. Who is he? I mean, what is he? What's his title?
Well, he's one of the senior generals. He's now military advisor to the president.
He's also a huge job. Prostate, isn't it? 39. What is this thing at all? I sort of, it was a prostate operation. Is it bad trouble? He was going to stay on, I think. That's the way you put it for. Yeah, fine, well, good, I'll see you this week. When are you gonna leave? Oh, I see, good, fine. I see, good, well, now I will be in touch with you, Randolph, just a little later today, and we'll set up a time. Good, fine. He says that that's what Julian Amory was supposed to, that he was going to stay, he decided this weekend to stay on, just give up. So he thinks that this is all attention, countries, so on and so forth. Each week is just a party.
Mr. President, I wonder if it would meet the Secretary of Defense's problem if you put in a paragraph, as Mr. McComb suggested, as saying that this must be done by people who are well-known, or shouldn't be done by people who are well-known, and also put in the paragraph D in Mr. McComb's memorandum, pointing out that insofar as this gentleman is concerned, we don't have the impression that he has given us enough for any response.
Yes, that's good.
He put D in. D. Yeah, D of John's memorandum. And because we're really doing two things. We're giving a general guidance for the future, but we're also pointing out that we don't think much of what we've got so far.
G, what does G mean?
Big man said that he wasn't certain General with whom we had dealt previously, and to whom we had given certain plans. Kim wanted us, or Min wanted us to give Min a copy of the plans we gave to Kim so he could compare them with the plans that Kim gave Min to see whether Kim was dealing falsely with him.
That AG is another subject.
It's getting awfully operational. You know, sure. You want to do that, sir?
I don't know what's necessary.
You could probably handle that on your own.
We can have a separate message.
Now, what of Mr. McComb's, what do we, D, what else have we got? We're going to put the suggestion in if there's any operation of this kind, if we tie it to this one, we said this one any time, we feel that Captain Floyd should consider the liability of somebody in their office, but
He is rather important. That's to do with detailed information, plan, and prospects for government.
to continue the prosecution.
Well, I think that,
We won't get much of that, though.
you know,
He has no government, he has no idea of country.
and I think, you know, I tried to get that thought in, if you still want to use it in the first sentence, so that we, our assistance depends on the ability, on their convincing us that they can carry on the war.
All right, I think that this, do you have any objection to that, Wyatt?
Is it intended that Coneen would carry on contacts with big men regarding coups? I think this is a basic question.
I think it's totally good except to, our preference would be to have Coneen make only one contact, and then to establish at that time a completely new
All
channel.
right, this is what I would suggest because let's point out that
It would be necessary to make one contact. That's right.
To set these up, yes.
And then we can set up another channel which we will bring in, and then.
This might not work. I think it's worthwhile trying, but it might not work because it might be harder for somebody who's outside of the country even to get anywhere near men without arousing more attention than a fellow who lives actually in the country. But it might work, and it's worth trying. If it doesn't work, we can go back to
Everybody else there that isn't particularly
We have a few fellows. But again, if the advantage of Coneen is that he's been working with the Ministry of Interior, he's been working on strategic handlers and this, that, and the other, and he has a certain natural access to a lot of people. in that sense, he has a natural capability of getting sin. Somebody, you know, just a brand new fellow out of the woodwork, it'd be a little harder for him even to get in, get through the aid and the assistant and all the rest of it.
Yeah, but there are fellows.
But we can give it a good whirl, and if it doesn't work, then we can come back to this or try another.
You may make this unnecessarily hard. I found it no problem getting talk to me. You either come to my office or I went to his office. And he said, sure, I know lots of people, especially this capitalist, been doing this for years.
We don't know very many four-star generals working for us. President, so we don't.
We don't hardly sit there and talk to him every time we want to.
This one, then, as I understand, would include this general position on coups. I think that's our general attitude. We listen to what anybody has to say. We will not join unless we get the answer in any case. And we would suggest for a procedure, the proposal of Mr. McCall, that I don't think E is going to necessarily put in. I don't know about F. Maybe wrong.
I think at this point, B is the important paragraph, and plus the suggested change of contact.
Just one other thing, Mr. President. The embassy has told us that the Vietnamese want us to send a lot of military units in honor of their national day, you know, the celebration of their Independence Day. And the State Department has prepared a wire, which I think perhaps Secretary McNamara should look at, and use simply saying that we don't play down our participation in Vietnamese Independence Day. You expressed the desire to have a look at that before.
What did they have to say? What day is it?
Today is 26. I asked to send U.S. military participation to naval units of cruiser, the USS Carlin. Well, the department has, but George, not over here at Clarence, so they don't kind of do that.
Yeah, large meeting is going to take place on Monday. I don't know.
What is this?
Well, the large meeting is going to take place on Monday. Remember, we start around here Saturday, and Jim would ask Lodge to come see him on Monday. We never heard anything about it.
No, I've been waiting. There's a reporter cable on that too, John. I haven't seen anything.
You haven't seen anything? I haven't seen anything. You're fine?
No, sir.
I don't know whether it was.
Yeah, we want to talk on Monday.
Oh, yes. There has been no reporting cable. The possibility is that Lodge has gone off somewhere with Jim on a trip, in which case he might not have had a chance to report it out. Go ahead.
President had all these sessions for the foreign relations part of their meeting. I thought the reception was more favorable than I anticipated. I don't think we sold everybody. We didn't sell church, for example, but the others were quite good. Oh, he implied that. Lousy went along with it. I was amazed. He complimented us and got through. Even more, he was not objectionable. Even more so than good behavior. And the House committee was relatively easy to take care of.
Oh, I didn't.
Gross was the one who told us personally there. Yes.
Any details what we're holding up?
Oh, they were trying to do a Senate Foreign Relations Committee. I told them we were holding up tongues aid and reviewing the other. We didn't go beyond that.
Foreign Relations Committee wants me on Friday.
This is Foreign Relations Committee. Yeah, I think it's up there.
President, they talked to me grilled me for an hour this morning on that specific issue. Gross had their entire building went over sentence by sentence. And I think we laid roll. I don't mean gross, I mean Hickover. I went over this morning. I've been meeting with Iowa all day. Went over it sentence by sentence, and I think we laid it without any qualification that goes to dissension between CIA, state, and defense.
Well, maybe by the time they digest that, I guess Dean's going up tomorrow, I think.
Everybody's going up on 480.
Well, Morse still wants to.
He's going up Thursday, I think.
Maybe they won't.
I think Morse still wants to probe the desirability of a monitoring committee of some kind to watch over CIA, although he's willing.
All they're going to have to do is Fulbright and Russell just have to make an arrangement to put two men from the Foreign Relations Committee on Russell's small committee. And then you've got appropriations and armed services and foreign relations all together. And it'd be very simple. It wouldn't complicate my problem at all. But Russell just has a great pride in that particular committee. I don't think he wants anybody from the Foreign Relations Committee in.
I get it this way, but this one is going to play out with the CIA part. I haven't many of that.
I think it is too.
I thought you had one still. Already.
Excuse me. It flies with a hell of a fast speed with the thing dropping. It goes one way shorter than the other. It always has to fly in circles. It can't fly straight. It flies in increasingly smaller concentric circles. And finally, let's see, on a moment's notice, it flies in increasingly shorter circles all the time. Well, that's this way, this way. This is the G's bird, because it has one wing shorter than the other. Pretty soon it gets flying so fast, the circles get so little, it flies right up to an asshole, and it says, G's starting to turn. Look at you learning the body, what you do with that important document I gave you the other day? Yeah. We're gonna meet here. Well, presently, yeah, well, I'll check just a minute. I haven't had no response from it. They called it up. What I could have, I told them I thought why that's the most thing. What did you do? Oh, I thought it was down. You know, I just told Mike, we will now have adjournment by mindfulness. You can think that any way you want. Yeah. Well, I sure hope we can get somebody when I think how close we were to getting rid of it before that TV thing, damn bad we didn't do something about it then. Oh, I tell you, geez, we got within 24 hours of it. We were within 24 hours of getting it out of the way. I never
to the agency to take responsibility, Mr. President, and then that report, this has all been reviewed periodically by the Latin American Policy Committee as progress is taken on.
Okay, all right. More on it. The Dominican thing now, we're agreement on the pickup.
You know, we're talking about this morning is taken care of.
And Honduras, you know what?
We'll be here in the morning, and we'll be meeting tomorrow about where we go next there.
And on the Haiti, we're going to waive that back to there.
Right.
Oh, I got a press conference on Wednesday. I think I could think of a statement. I would make the statement, but I respond about what our attitude is towards coups.
Discuss coups territorial now.
No. What is that?
Very favorable to the Martin, now known as the Martin Doctrine.
At last we got some common sense or something like this.
They just chose to interpret. Let's just have something to do. We'll have to get a reply about our attitude about military coups. Now, the other thing is, we're going to see about 4 or 5 senators, Democrats, maybe I think for about 8, that will go right once you go down. When you certainly get it from me, say the last 5 or 6 years, I don't want to keep everybody else. This is, even if we can get the amount done for aid, final appropriation, say each year, now, providing economic and military as much as you can. That's what I put in as economic, whatever the categories fit best. And that's what I think, I'd like to see what basis we have in each of the countries, how much we give each country and have for the last 5 years. Break it down country by country, total figure. As soon as the military is economically possible, then you get total figure for the last 5 years.
All countries or just countries or other bases?
No, I just like to see perspective based on that, all countries. And what a general final total of 3.5 might mean to us. I don't know how possible.
In any case, that particular proposal has been withdrawn for the moment. There is a third hypothesis, which is nice from our point of view, which is that he doesn't de facto get out, but comes under really a kind of continuing military restraint and tutelage, does appoint or give more authority, delegate really to a moderate cabinet, virtually full authority, and stops getting in the way, stops interfering in effect with a consistent moderate policy. Moderate policy can't just be a status quo policy because the economic conditions are deteriorating badly, and it really takes some positive action to turn the corner on inflation, which data had begun to do, but which unfortunately subsequently has turned the other way again. One little example of the weakness of the situation. Last month, starting with the sergeant's rebellion, well, there was a strike in the city of Santos first, lasted 3 or 4 days, required the army to occupy the port in order to stop it. Then there was the sergeant's rebellion in Brasilia. Then there started a series of sporadic bank strikes all over the country, affecting particular cities for different lengths of time, particular banks for different lengths of time. This created generalized runs. The Bank of Brazil had to pump into the banking system 120 billion cruzeiros of freshly issued currency against the 30 billion, which for that month was in their program, their monetary program. If things really quieted down, they might get a lot of that back, but I don't think they're likely to in the present circumstances. This is already, and will be a further source of inflationary pressure. The present situation on the labor front for the moment is calm. I don't think there are any going strikes, but the immediate strike season is by no means off, even on economic grounds. This is the period for renegotiation of annual wage contracts. And political strikes, of course, are always a possibility. There'll be one very critical indicator of the President's line at the end of this month, because the National Industrial Workers Confederation, which is by far the biggest and most important, has its first election of the new directorate since December 1961 coming. It came at that time, you may recall, under pretty strong left wing, including some communist domination. And there obviously will be an effort. Repudiated the memorandum they signed in April, although they haven't overtly done so. They have made it clear that they will not make the settlement, whatever it is, retroactive to January 1st of this year. And the company is losing money at the present time. And we're trying to help press them to raise the rates, which ought to be done anyway for all the electricity operations in the country, because this is one of the sources of budgetary deficits. And I think we may make some headway there. That at least will prevent the situation from getting worse. At any point at which AMPOR believes that it is suffering clearly creeping expropriation and thinks that it ought to start raising hell about the Hickenlooper Amendment in this connection, we may be put behind the 8 ball in exactly the same way we were by IT&T last year. I don't think we're entirely free agents in this matter. The oil company problem is a serious one. I talked briefly to the Jersey Standard people today. They got into bad arrears a year ago. They consolidated the then arrears into 2 payments, March and September. They have made those, but they really made those by backing up new arrears during the course of the present year. Last Friday and the previous Friday, they called in the oil company representatives for a discussion of consolidation of the new arrears. And the companies are trying to see if they can't work out some method of accepting the consolidation, but on some more stern conditions so that it won't happen all over again. It's just a question of filling up one hole at the expense of creating another. But behind this, there are some other nasty problems. Petrobras has made a deal with Romania about aviation gasoline. And our distributors may be asked to distribute Romanian aviation gasoline. They don't like to do this either on technical grounds or on political grounds. This will be a very tough one for us to confront. There's the question, of course, if they get into bigger oil business with the Soviet Union, about Soviet gasoline and other products as well. So I think we may have coming at us from the business front, so to speak, various types of pressures if the situation continues to get worse, which may require some kind of policy responses. At the moment, the policy line is to try to help work with these people.
It depends on that. They have to understand the business. If they push hard and get the Hickenlooper Amendment, and then they all have it seized completely. So they should understand that they're not completely.
This might have a dual advantage of both sort of resuscitation of the Alliance for Progress exercise, which is what the meeting is all about, plus having an opportunity for visiting Brazil without having it too much simply giving political benefit to Goulart, which we obviously don't want to overdo. It's gotten a little late for that anyway, and I must say, as the situation in Brazil has deteriorated, without taking another first-hand reading, I wouldn't want to advise you in favor. I would have to advise you against at the present moment. I did not know, when we talked in March, you were thinking of the possibility of visiting Chile and Argentina after the new president got in and so on. Anyway, I think it's quite clear that you must not go to neighboring South American countries without going to Brazil. I think this would be the
I understand that they're going in March. So all these go through that.
next year.
Yeah. The other thing is I can go in December, but that depends on your advice on it.
Right. December is, just from the seasonal point of view, a very poor time. It's the beginning of the hottest part of the year.
March is pretty good, so.
It's beginning to get better.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
March and April. Well, it isn't quite, it's the rain and
nothing else, the fact that you have to decide this a month ahead of time, in the Brazil situation, militates against planning it. Because you can't know what's going to happen a month ahead of time.
As it is now, yeah.
As it is now.
I think we ought to think about going down there, though.
Well, March, sure.
Anyway, decide those.
I'm anxious to go to Chile and Argentina. I've got desire.
There's nothing in that paper, Mr. President, which would cool at all our present relations with Goulart. In other words, there's nothing in there that would give him any excuse any more than he's had for the last year, in any event, to say that we're not being forthcoming to assist him. As a matter of fact, he rolled over some treasury debt. There's only one possibility, that ex-im thing on that steel plant, that they might be nasty about. Linder does not want to give him a loan for the steel plant unless the Amcorp case is settled. They're still dragging their feet on that.
Linder isn't concerned about Amcorp. He's really concerned about the general status of the
I would think we're being very careful also to not get involved with rightist coup players, which could be very...
I was going to mention, though, Mr. President, the problem of our business interests so far, we've been running. Either we might be asked for help of one kind or another, we might be asked for fuel, we might be asked for something, ammunition, in some place. This is what we want to study further. And I must say, I would not want us to close our minds to the possibility of some kind of discrete intervention in such a case, which would help see the right side win.
Seems to be internal communications in Brazil are so bad and so easily interrupted by the unions, for example. Something very discreetly prepared to help, particularly on fuel, might be very significant for turning about.
Right. Now, how are we going to get that contingency?
We've got some things
Mr. President, we're working at General Maritime State here on some contingency plans. I think we need to think of something perhaps larger than that, at least to extend our plan. It's entirely possible the military would split, and one fairly substantial group go one way, and another even larger group go another way. And at that point, we might have to choose between the two groups and decide whether to support one or the other. In the event we decided to support one militarily, it could be a rather substantial introduction of U.S. forces. And it seems to me that's the kind of a contingency plan we should be working toward. I spoke to the chiefs about it again this afternoon. They've been working on it rather casually up to this point. I think we can accelerate our work. And we'll work, of course, with the state to that end.
Well, we just got a place for us to operate in it, because it isn't necessarily, but how many days by ship, 10 or 12 days to get some ships in it.
We'd have to move rapidly by air, and we have some capability for that end.
I must say, unless it looks like the extreme leftist forces under communist domination had a good chance of winning, I'm pretty strong for the principle, let the Brazilians fight it out. So,
But I think
but we have to have our plans prepared just in case.
and then the other one, the other contingency, which I think is quite possible, is that towards the end, you may do what you said, about going violently to the last season off property and all that. That present us with a, I would think that we ought to try to maintain as good a relation with him as possible. I noticed one of the things about letters, I don't know where I was to go down there, or in other words, to make it so that his justification for that publicly becomes as little as possible. And he didn't want to burn all the bridges. Of course, he's being applying screws on the aid. We have to do it with some sensitivity to the fact that
I ran into a high-level conference, which is way in the stratosphere here. You see, I went on for very erudite, they talking high, we had three levels. My gosh, pretty good fellow. You know what the cheeseburger is? Have you ever seen one of them? What? Cheeseburger. Like backwards. No. No. It inhabits the western plains, not the southwest. Mojave Desert, Arizona. It's characterized by the fact that one wing is shorter than the other.
flies in increasingly smaller concentric circles. And finally, let's see, on a moment, it flies in increasingly shorter circles all the time. Well, this way. This is the G's bird, because it has one wing shorter than the other. Pretty soon it gets flying so fast, the circles get so little, it flies right up on that hole and says, geez, it's dark up there. That wouldn't be very bothering me. Now in New England. And none of them New England. What do you do with that important document I gave you the other day? You want to get? Yeah. We're going to meet here. Well, presently, I'll check just a minute. I haven't had no response from it. They called it up. What I could have. I told them I thought why that's the most thing. What you do? Oh, I know it was stopped. You know, I just told Mike, we will now have adjournment by Michaelmas. You can think that any way you want. Yeah. Well, I sure hope we can get going. When I think how close we were to getting rid of it before that TV thing, damn bad we didn't do something about it then. Oh, I tell you, Steve, coming in 24 hours of it. We were within 24 hours of getting it out of the way. I never anticipated all these revolutions. That's right, to set these up. And now we can set up another channel which we will bring in, and then
This might not work. I think it's worthwhile trying, but it might not work because it might be harder for somebody who's outside of the country even to get anywhere near him without arousing more attention than a fellow who lives actually in the country. But it might work, and it's worth trying. If it doesn't work, we can go back to
everybody else there that isn't particularly
we have a few fellows. But again, if the advantage of Conin is that he's been working with the Ministry of Interior, he's been working on strategic handlers and this, that, and the other, and he has a certain natural access to a lot of people. In that sense, he has a natural capability of getting to see him. Somebody, you know, just a brand new fellow out of the woodwork, it'd be a little harder for him even to get in, get through the aid and the assistant and all the rest of it.
Yeah, but there are fellows.
But we can give it a good whirl, and if it doesn't work, then we can come back to this or try another.
If we didn't make this unnecessarily hard, I found it no problem getting to talk to me. You could come to my office, or I went to his office, and he said, sure, I know I'm watching. Especially this happened to me for years.
We don't got very many four-star generals working for us. President, so we don't.
We don't hardly sit there and talk to him every time we want to.
This one, then, as I understand, would include this general position on coups. I think that's our general attitude. We listen to what anybody has to say. We will not join unless we get the answer in any case. Then we would suggest for a procedure, the proposal of Mr. McCone, that I don't think E is going to necessarily put in. I don't know if I asked, anybody want to?
I think at this point, B is the important paragraph, and plus the suggested change of contact.
Just one other thing, Mr. President. The embassy has told us that the Vietnamese want us to send a lot of military units in honor of their National Day, the celebration of their Independence Day. And the State Department has prepared a wire, which I think perhaps Secretary McNamara should look at, and he's simply saying that we don't think we ought to play down our participation in Vietnamese Independence Day.
You expect to have a look at that before. What did they have to say?
What day is it? Today is 26th.
Fulbright, around 6 in the afternoon. Gore, they say, is absolutely gone. Absolutely hopeless. I talked to Fulbright today at noontime. He said, I just came from the finance meeting and his rocker. And Larry says,
Okay, what about,
in other words,
tomorrow, you can't get all this stuff, Dave. All right, well.
are you trying to make a pitch to the 3.5 final figure?
No, I'm just telling you, I don't want to show them why we need $4 billion, but I to show what the effect would be if we ended up with 2.5, which where they're not even trying to take us, what the danger would be for our show. What are all the other items that you've got that you think would be they're very knowledgeable about it, but they detail.
This will be all Republicans except
No,
O'Brien?
nomination.
Time.
More hopeless. I think I talked to you privately.
Privately, and I think that's what they suggested on Simonton too. Maybe it would be Senator Mansfield, Fulbright, and 3 Republicans. In other words, Larry's view is that wiping a whole group of Republicans down and just work on the ones where you're going to get a vote.
I think, possibly, but try to talk to them privately.
Yeah.
And Simon,
And Cyrus. Cyrus is very well named.
they use $1 billion of the 3.5 for military and General Wood to do the breakdown of that. Bill's out with his father, including his father's bid. Bill Bundy. Bill Bundy.
Oh, I didn't know you that.
Today.
Or Simon is just this is all.
He'll go along with it.
Well, yeah.
I think,
Anyway, we got.
didn't talk that way, oh, you're right.
It's just
The trouble is, you're asking to vote for a figure, we say, no, it's 500 million more than you find out. Yes, that being answered, that's trying to do something that's unreasonable, really, just isn't happening. I guess Jerry Ford's impossible.
Well, he's already on military, all right in the sense that he'll go for the highest figure we can have any chance to get it, $1 billion. And he'll swing past him in line behind that, because otherwise we'll get around 800 or 900 million. But I don't think Jerry Ford's going to do a thing for you now. It's the impression he's giving me.
There's not a Republican on that committee that will over there.
Still Connie.
Connie.
Sandy Rise,
I've got what we used to call a sky.
remember that?
I had it last year. It's going away, but it's still there. My wife claims it's fatigue. It's all over the country, affecting particular cities for different lengths of time, particular banks for different lengths of time. This created generalized runs. The Bank of Brazil had to pump into the banking system 120 billion cruzeiros of freshly issued currency against the 30 billion, which for that month was in their program, their monetary program. If things really quieted down, they might get a lot of that back, but I don't think they're likely to under present circumstances. This is already and will be a further source of inflationary pressure. The present situation on the labor front for the moment is calm. I don't think there are any going strikes, but the immediate strike season is by no means off, even on economic grounds. This is the period for renegotiation of annual wage contracts, and political strikes, of course, are always a possibility. There'll be one very critical indicator of the President's line at the end of this month, because the National Industrial Workers Confederation, which is by far the biggest, most important, has its first election of the new directorate since December 1961 coming. It came at that time, you may recall, under pretty strong left wing, including some communist domination. And there obviously will be an effort now, on the one hand, to weaken this or get rid of it, and on the other hand, to make it even more left wing than it was before. Broad lines of policy, which we have been working on and thinking about in the face of the situation, fall into 2 parts. One is on the general hypothesis that somehow he survives, that Carvalho Pinto, the new finance minister, although a weaker man than Dantas, does at least prevent things from going completely to pot on the inflation front, that Goulart withdraws enough support or takes a sufficiently hostile posture to the left-wing elements in the labor movement to keep them from getting out of hand. That things don't greatly improve, but they don't worsen so badly that a crisis of regime is inevitable. Then the broad line of policy is suggested in a paper which was approved by the Latin American Policy Committee tentatively last Thursday. I don't know whether you've glanced at it yet or not. I think that's the piece of paper in front of you. Basically, this is to continue to work, and to work indeed, if anything, more.
Therefore, for that reason, it's undesirable. Secondly, I fully agree with this paragraph in John, well, in the present state of our knowledge.
Because of a conversation between a Brazilian newspaper reporter and one of my embassy officers in Brasilia. And this got wired up here. And Pierre was asked a question about it and said the president is not contemplating a visit to South America this year under any circumstances or something like that. I think it was just one of these accidental things, but the next time I saw Goulart, it was quite clear that he thought this was a deliberate slap in the face, a cold blanket, cold towel thrown directly in his face, and he was quite sore about it. If we could avoid this particular kind of episode, it would be helpful.
What is our position then as far as like going there?
I think our position is that you certainly want to visit South America at an appropriate time. You've got Congress in session here, and the prospects in the near future don't look very good. But you want to keep re-examining the situation to see when it might be suitable and useful.
CIA want to say?
No, sir.
Well, this is a good, lot of material here, now we can get it really pushed ahead. So responsible to carry it out. Like, just a military suggestion here as to what should up, changing it, environment, officers getting out, so on.
We'll follow that.
What's good is about the congressional exchanges, parliamentary exchanges.
We're working on that. Each of the agencies take responsibility, Mr. President, and that report, this has all been reviewed periodically by the Latin American Policy Committee as progress is taken on.
Okay, all right. More on the Dominican thing, now we're agreement on the paper.
We're talking about this morning is taken care of.
And Honduras, you know what?
Eventually, even in the morning, and we'll be meeting tomorrow about where we go next there.
And on the Haiti, we're going to waive that back to that.
Right.
I got a press conference on Wednesday, we got the secretary to think of a statement. I would make the statement, but I respond about what our attitude is towards collusion.
This could start the turtle thing.
No, but that's
Very favorable to the Martin, now known as the Martin Doctrine.
Last we got some common sense or something like this.
they just chose to interpret
Work with these people.
Right, it depends on that. They have to understand the business. If they push hard, we get the hiccup from them, and then they all have it seized completely. So they should understand that they're not completely free.
That's right. That's right. I think on the whole they've been pretty good. They've been very tolerant. That's right. Ample.
Now, what else is we have to today? Military going ahead with that contingency planning. I think this paper is pretty good paper. We can do these things.
The CIA has some contingency planning in this too, also some activities.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. South America. Oh. That's awesome development. Yeah. 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 You want to go off the record? Yeah, I said, well, yeah, okay. All right, I'll get in touch with you. Good, okay.
I call for a reservation, Mr. President, on this one point, on the volume of project lending that we do over the next year. Well, I don't think there'd be any difficulty here, but I appreciate a chance to.
Well, the paper doesn't state the volume. The paper is couched in general terms.
But I think we can discuss further whether it's $100 million or some other figure that we should have in mind.
I discussed the program with Ted. I said the $100 billion I thought might be susceptible of rating for 2 or 3 things that seemed to be a little low.
President, on the question of your visit, there was one slightly unhappy episode, which I must say I found rather troublesome. When I talked to the President in August, he made a great point. He came back to the scene, made a great point of it. And I reported all this at that point in time without recommendation. Shortly thereafter, some garbled story came out because of a conversation between a Brazilian newspaper reporter and one of my embassy officers in Brasilia. And this got wired up here, and Pierre was asked a question about it, and said,
It flies with a hell of a fast speed with the things out there. It goes one way shorter than the other. What'd you do with that important document I gave you the other day? You want to get? Yeah. We're gonna meet here. Well, presently, I'll check just a minute. I haven't had no response from it. They called it up. What I could have, I told them I thought what did he, why that's supposed to happen? What you do? Oh, I know it was, you know, I just told Mike, we will now have adjournment by Michaelmas. You can think that any way you want to. Yeah. Well, I sure hope we can get somebody to get out of my head. Why, when I think I'm supposed to really get rid of it before that TV thing, damn bad we didn't do something about it then. Oh, I tell you, Steve, got within 24 hours of it. We were within 24 hours of getting it out of the way. I never anticipated all these revolutions and all this and so on. Hadn't done it. Well, it would have got if we got spelled out. Well, there'd have been a revolution on the floor. I'll say about this. I think you're better off now. I think we're going to be better. More amendments and more things, right? You expressed a desire to have a look at that before. What did they ask us to say? What day is today?
Today is 26th. I asked us to send U.S. military participation to enable a cruiser, the USS Carlin.
What happened?
Well, the department has, but
George.
I don't hear it clearance, so
Well,
they're not trying to do that.
yeah, large meeting is going to take place on Monday. I have no idea.
What is this?
Well, the large meeting is going to take place on Monday. Remember, we started out here Saturday, and Jim had asked Lodge to come see him on Monday. We never heard anything about it.
No, I've been waiting, there's a reporter cable on that too, John, I haven't seen anything.
You haven't seen it, I haven't seen it. You fine?
No, sir,
I don't know whether it was.
Yeah, let's just talk, I know that.
Oh, yes. There has been no reporting cable. The possibility is that Lodge has gone off somewhere with Jim on a trip, in which case he might not have had a chance to report it out.
Go ahead. President had all these sessions for the foreign relations part of it. I thought the reception was more favorable than I anticipated. I don't think we sold everybody. We didn't sell church, for example, but the others were quite good. Oh, he implied that. I was lousy, went along with it. I was amazed. He complimented us as we got through. Even more, even more so of good behavior. And the House committee was relatively easy to take care of. Oh, I didn't. Gross was the one who took it. Just over there. Yes. Any details what we're holding up?
Oh, they're trying to do a Senate Foreign Relations Committee. I told them we were holding up Tung's aid and reviewing the other. We didn't go beyond that.
Foreign Relations Committee wants me on Friday. This is the Foreign Relations Committee. Yeah, I think it's up there.
This, I think if he were to try it today, he would probably be thrown out rapidly, but he might not. This is the contingency nature of the thing. We can't be sure enough of our knowledge of the relative weight of the various elements in this military division particularly, or of the power of the left-wing labor unions to create trouble by general strikes and sabotage, for example, in petroleum refineries. And they are strong, and very strong, in petroleum, railroads, marine, both forts and the merchant marine, and communications, telegraph, telephone communications. This is a pretty dangerous collection of things from the point of view, at least, of paralyzing the ordinary operation of the country. In an event of this kind, it is possible, I don't think it should be ruled out, that you might actually get an effort to throw him out, and possibly a real division of the military and some kind of an internal clash, the beginnings of what would amount to a civil war. This was feared, seriously feared, in August 1961. That's why the Congress finally came to this compromise. At that time, the First Army in Rio was against letting Goulart in. The Third Army in the south of the country was in favor of letting him in. The Second Army hadn't really decided. They really were afraid of a violent dispute. We want to think more about this kind of thing. I must confess that such preliminary looking as we've done suggested that military intervention on the word type is not too likely to arise, at least military intervention on any scale. We had a preliminary look, Bob, at a question General O'Mara asked at one time. Suppose the country fell under communist control of a communist group, and really a question of a military invasion to recapture it, what would it take? Well, it was going to take 6 divisions, and I've forgotten how many ships and aircraft and whatnot. I mean, it was a really massive military operation. We tried to examine various contingencies of possible divisions, political divisions, and we came to the conclusion that, for the most part, it all depends on what the Brazilian military do. If the Brazilian military are substantially all against Goulart, he will disappear. And if they're substantially moderate forces, it includes working with the military. The military fall into several categories. There is a small extreme right-wing group in the military, mostly out of significant command position now, which would like to run a right-wing golpe. We don't think they have the capacity to do this, although they gain in friends as the situation deteriorates. There is a significant, strong left-wing group in the military. The principal name in this group is Osvaldo Alves, the former commander of the First Army in Rio, who was retired, but who is still actively politicking, and whose name often appears as a possible minister of war if Goulart decides to opt for a left-wing group. Exactly how much support he has, we don't know. We wish we knew more about this. We think it's minority, but it's spread around. There were 11 new generals created in July, including several immediate disciples of his. And he has friends at lower ranks and some significant number of friends in the Air Force, very few in the Navy, except the head of the active Marine Corps group in Rio, who's a very unpopular man. And in the sergeants, he was working with the sergeants on the organization of subversive elements and the sergeants. There again, we don't think this is terribly extensive, but it may be more than we realize. Certainly, this Brasilia revolt was put down very quickly, without too much difficulty. The bulk of the military, I think, is moderate, basically constitutionally oriented, loyal to the regime, increasingly troubled with Goulart, not anxious to throw him out, although they'd be happier if we weren't there, but probably drawing a line against deliberately unconstitutional action on his part against the Congress or against state governors, and especially drawing a line against encouragement on his part of politically motivated labor disorder, with a lot of communist participation in. Those, I think, are the main elements in the situation. This paper suggests a policy line strengthening the moderate forces in the military, to the extent we have ways of doing that, helping to stiffen the spine of moderate forces in the Congress, working, and this is especially
How he does it. It's characterized as the fact that one wing is shorter than the other. Yeah. But it flies very fast. It takes off with a hell of a right. Just one way. It flies with a hell of a fast speed when it takes off. Because one wing is shorter than the other. It always has to fly in circles. It can't fly straight. It flies in increasingly smaller concentric circles. And finally, let's see. On a moment, it flies in increasingly shorter circles all the time. Flies this way, this way. This is the G's bird, because it has one wing shorter than the other. Pretty soon it gets flying so fast, the circles get so little, it flies right up and that's all. It says, G's starting to turn. What do you do with that important document I gave you the other day? Yeah. We're going to meet here. Well, presently did. Yeah, well, I'll check. Just a minute. I haven't had no response from it. They called it up. What I could have. I told you I thought really, why that's the most thing. What you do? Oh, I know you stop. You know, I just told Mike, we will now have adjournment by Michaelmas. You can think that any way you want. Yeah. Well, I sure hope we can get going. When I think I'm supposed to get rid of it before that TV thing, damn that we didn't do something about it then. Oh, I say, geez, come within 24 hours of it. We were within 24 hours of getting it out of the way. I never anticipated all these revolutions, trouble, and so on. We hadn't done it. Well, it would have cut if we got spelled out. Well, there'd have been a revolution on the floor. I'll say that.
Strengthening these moderate forces includes working with the military. The military fall into several categories. There is a small extreme right-wing group in the military, mostly out of significant command position now, which would like to run a right-wing golpe. We don't think they have the capacity to do this, although they gain in friends as the situation deteriorates. There is a significant, strong left-wing group in the military. The principal name in this group is Osvaldo Alves, the former commander of the First Army in Rio, who was retired, but who is still actively politicking, and whose name often appears as a possible minister of war if Goulart decides to opt for a left-wing group. Exactly how much support he has, we don't know. We wish we knew more about this. We think it's minority, but it's spread around. There were 11 new generals created in July, including several immediate disciples of his. And he has friends at lower ranks and some significant number of friends in the Air Force, very few in the Navy, except the head of the active Marine Corps group in Rio, who's a very unpopular man. And in the sergeants, he was working with the sergeants on the organization of subversive elements in the sergeants. There again, we don't think this is terribly extensive, but it may be more than we realize. Certainly, this Brasilia revolt was put down very quickly, without too much difficulty. The bulk of the military, I think, is moderate, basically constitutionally oriented, loyal to the regime, increasingly troubled with Goulart, not anxious to throw him out, although they'd be happier if he weren't there, but probably drawing a line against deliberately unconstitutional action on his part against the Congress or against state governors, and especially drawing a line against encouragement on his part of politically motivated labor disorder, with a lot of communist participation in. Those, I think, are the main elements in the situation. This paper suggests a policy line strengthening the various types of pressures if the situation continues to get worse, which may require some kind of policy responses. At the moment, the policy line is to try to help work with these people.
Right, it depends on that. They have to understand the business. If they push hard and get the economic remember, and then they all have to seize completely. So they should understand that they're not completely free.
That's right. That's right. I think on the whole they've been pretty good. They've been very tolerant. That's right.
Now, what else is we have to today? Military going ahead with that contingency planning. I think this paper is pretty good paper. We can do these things.
The CIA has some contingency planning in this too, also some activities.
Hello.
One point on the
volume of project lending that we do over the next year. Well, I don't think there'd be any difficulty, but appreciate a chance to.
The paper doesn't state the volume, the paper is counts in general terms.
But I think we need to discuss further whether it's $100 million or some other figure that we should have in mind.
I discussed the program with Ted. I said the 100 billion I thought might be susceptible of rating for 2 or 3 things that seemed a little low.
President, on the question of your visit, there was one slightly unhappy episode, which I must say I found rather troublesome. When I talked to the President in August, he made a great point. He came back to the scene, made a great point of it. And I reported